Hey guys, and welcome back to a new video. In this video, I will quickly show you 5 different tips for AI-first development, specifically for Android and app development. So just a few little tweaks that you can make in how you work with your agents that will improve your results. Of course, the foundation for you to work efficiently with any agent is that your technical foundation is really solid, that you understand architecture, system design, asynchronous programming, reactive programming, and so on, which I all teach in my premium courses. Right now, spring sale, 30% off on all courses and bundles on my website. Only today, tonight it actually expires. Link is below. Discounts are already applied in cart. Coming to tip number 1, and that is actually make your agent commit what it has done, but not just flat commits. This is maybe nothing new to you, that people tell you, hey, you actually have to make your agent use Git properly. But here, for example, I've worked with an agent that has fixed multiple different issues in a single go. So just small little issues like, okay, password visibility toggle didn't work. There was a certain cooldown that wasn't considered from the server side, but it was actually hard-coded. So just small things. And normally, if you now ask your agent, hey, can you please commit those changes? Then the issues with that are, it will be inconsistent, so you don't have any clear convention for how your Git commit messages are named. It will likely commit everything here all together in one go. So it's not really one isolated change per commit anymore. And all in all, you always have to re-instruct it to do so. Instead, what I did is I have actually created my own skill for making the agent create meaningful commits, even when there are multiple unrelated changes that are currently not yet committed. So all those blue files that you can see here. And to do that, I simply have to type git commit, wait a little moment, it will analyze the current Git history. It knows my personal commit message conventions. It will analyze which files have changed, which changes were made, detect the isolated ones, and then make multiple commits here per related change, per isolated change. So we can also revert single changes of these. So for example, if we then notice, okay, out of these 5 or 4 issues here, 3 of them were actually the fix for the problem, but issue 1 maybe still contains a problem, then we can also revert just issue 1 here, but leaving the code for issue 2, 3, and 4 unchanged. And this is only what separate Git commits allow you to do. So committing everything here in one chunk then also only lets you revert that one chunk. And while the agent here is cooking, we can also take a quick look at how the skill looks like. This is really completely dependent here on how your commit message conventions are actually like, how you would like the agent to commit something. This is opinionated. But in the end, we just have a git commit skill. It's used for committing. It will collect the state here in parallel, so what has really changed, checks the branch, checks if there is actually something to commit, and so on. Then group the changes by intent, use the context of the calling agent. So if we already build these features first, then we already have some context about what was done. And then it's instructed on how it can actually commit a whole file versus committing just some parts of a file that have been changed. So of course, there's also the scenario that 2 unrelated changes were made in the same file. And this skill here is actually smart enough to split these 2 changes into separate commits. Then here, I'm just going over my personal commit message format. So always one of these 10 types here that is prefixed. So either it's a feature, when we add some new functionality, some kind of bug fix, a performance improvement, a refactor, just some different types of commits of code changes that could happen here, which the agent then learns to pick based on. So we get commit messages like this here, feature, authentication, add login screen with email and password for a new feature, fix crash on null user, then we get fix profile, handle null, and so on. I think you get the idea. This format really allows us to also search in commits more easily. If we know, okay, we're looking for a specific commit that fixed something, then we only need to look for commit messages starting with fix. But such a skill you can, of course, build with your own conventions. Creating skills nowadays isn't that hard anymore. Just use the Claude skill creator command, and it just walks you through all these decisions. Just teach it your personal conventions. But this way, you really don't always have to think about instructing the agent explicitly to make commits as part of your system prompt maybe, which is still a good idea, in this case now, to make commits with this git commit skill. But otherwise, it has really often missed that because the agent is often not automatically triggered when there is code that has been added that is small enough or large enough in order to fit into a commit. What you can, of course, also do is explicitly tell the skill already if you have ready-made commit chunks here. So if you know, okay, everything in the code base was for a single feature, then you can, of course, also tell the skill, hey, everything can go in one commit here. This is just feature work. And then it will, of course, also process this much faster and prevents it from analyzing all the little changes that have been made. And now, there we go. The agent is done. And these are the 5 commits it has actually created. This top one here is really just for some JetBrains config files that I've noticed have changed. This could have also been in gitignore, But other than that, it has correctly detected these 4 issues that have been fixed by the previous agent. We have those as isolated commits here. So you have one commit for honoring the retry after time that is coming from the API, showing wrong credentials as a red callout, which has been an issue. Down here, toggling the password visibility icon, and here of actually showing a confirmation dialog before registering. So really nice commits here with all those files that have actually been changed. It takes the agent maybe 5, 6, 7 minutes after a big chunk of work to process that, but you will never ever have to think about committing first and then having the agent proceed with something. And with that, we already come to the second tip here. Just declaring those skills, in my experience, really isn't enough. So normally, the moment you declare a skill, there's also some sort of description, which is always loaded into each and every single prompt. And then Claude or your agent of choice checks, okay, should I invoke that particular skill? So here, for example, when there are buzzwords like commit the work, make commits, commit my changes, and so on. But it won't make Claude automatically pick up that skill unless you explicitly include such buzzwords. What has been much more effective in my experience is to simply have such a table here in your system prompt, in your AgentsMD, ClaudeMD, where you instruct it with all the different common skills that you want it to invoke in this project, and then also have rules here, for example, when to invoke each. So, for example, when determining anything about package structure, then it should use this Android module structure skill. Because the difference here is that the system prompt is really loaded into every single conversation you have with the AI. So it's really as if you would instruct the agent in every single of your messages, before you go on with anything, take a look at these skills, and if you do something that these skills cover, then load these skills. This will really increase the likelihood of the agent really referring to these skills and the domain knowledge that you encode in them, because that's in the end what the skills are for. It will really drastically raise that chance of it using them. Tip number 3, make your agent generate compose previews for every single screen state that exists for a compose screen or for a compose component that it has built. Letting the agent build and generate UI code is still one of the more tricky parts because agents can't really see, they don't have any sense of visuals, but they can just structurally analyze the code they've written. So this is still where you can often find little inconsistencies. But then you can at least make it as easy and fast as possible for you to find those inconsistencies. So in whatever skill you use in order to let the agent generate compose code, if you want to use my skill, then you can download these 8 skills for Android architecture below, which includes this compose component skill. But then you will get such previews here for every single screen for all kinds of different variants. And you can instantly inspect which variant may be off and how each one looks like. We get those for tablets here, and it's very quick for you to actually compare this with what is on the mockups. So not just for all these different orientations and screen sizes, but really for each and every state, when there is maybe a callout shown, when we've hit our resend email button and there is a cooldown being shown, when we're loading something, when there is an empty state, when data has been loaded, when there is some kind of error that has happened. All these states you want the agent to include here in previews after all. And then it will be much faster for you to actually check what the agent has done and what requires fixing. And when we're already at generating compose components or UI components with an agent, coming to tip number 4, make the agent comment each compose component with a specific Figma frame that references it. So what I got used to is here, when working on such a screen, the agent actually comments with a URL and the specific node ID of the node in Figma that encodes this component. You can possibly also inline such comments here when there are subcomponents or different variants. But the big advantage of this is when you clear your session and the future agent sees this, it can instantly look up the real UI for the screen in Figma and doesn't have to browse Figma first, which really consumes huge amounts of tokens if it first of all has to find the screen in Figma to know what to even match against. But with this URL here, it really gets this context instantly and can also instantly look up things. The only thing you have to be disciplined about here is if something changed in Figma, so you maybe completely swap out the Figma frame or the Figma component with a different one, that you also make the changes in your code. But it's rare that a whole screen is going to be removed and replaced with a different one. It's rather that changes happen within this frame. And then the node of that overall frame of the screen will still remain the same. And the last one here, tip number 5, is a more general tip. And that is really to not ignore the little things. With agentic development, it's quite impressive how much code we can really generate in such a short time. You will typically find yourself building features and especially building the first part of the feature. So the big amount of work that really mainly implements this feature, the UI, the data layer, and so on, wires everything together. that is usually quite fast, even though it involves most of the code of a feature. But usually, there's still some little things left after the first agent run in this case, just like I've shown you here, for example. So maybe the password visibility indicator is actually not doing anything. Maybe there is a dialog that isn't showing, but should. Maybe there is some kind of field not considered from the API, but it's hard-coded. And maybe there's even a weird name for a class. Make it a habit to fix all these things of a feature before going on with the next one. You need to have the same standard to your code that you had before agentic development. You need to want the same level of quality also with agent. And this is only ensured if you really also fix the little issues. When there is a weird name, then change that. When there is a little and maybe not even critical bug, then still change that when you're already on it, when the agent has the context. Don't think, oh, I will get to this later. I'm just already so hyped. I want to get to the next feature. But really, if you build a feature with an agent, then only move on when that feature is really polished and functionally finished. So I hope this helped. As I mentioned, if you want to get that technical foundation first, which is really the foundation for any agentic development, take a look at my courses. They are more important than ever, really. Today, still 30% off, then the prices will rise. Link is below. Everything is applied in cart already. Happy learning.